Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today's an exciting day. It's the release day for my Maddi Dress pattern. And yes, it has pockets. In this video, I'm going to give you a review of the yarn that I used, talk about some different design features, what to do if your dress stretches like mine did, and at the end, I'll show you some of my amazing testers photos. So let's start at the start. I used LaRue Cotton's Cotton Bamboo blend. It's 50% cotton and 50% bamboo. I know what you're thinking. Bamboo gets a bad rep when it comes to garment making, especially for a large garment like a dress. The reason for that is bamboo can be a pretty stretchy fiber, and not in an elasticy kind of way. It does not bounce back. It stretches out and it stays stretched out. But that's the beauty of this yarn, is it's got that cotton content. It's 50-50. So the cotton gives it a little bit more structure, a little bit more staying power, and the bamboo gives it this silky softness and like a nice heaviness on your body and drape for days. This is a fingering weight base with, let me check, 400 meters per 100 grams or 437 yards per 100 grams. Cotton has a bad rep in crochet sometimes as well, in that it can be really splitty and it can feel stiff or almost chalky when you're crocheting it. But this is a very high quality cotton that Kathleen from LaRue has used, and it has a tight spin on the yarn, so it was not really any more splitty than any other yarn. A couple of snags in the course of a dress, completely understandable. It's not like some cottons where it's like every stitch is a struggle. Then with regards to that chalkiness that you can feel sometimes with cotton, or that stickiness on your hook, the bamboo almost eliminates that feeling altogether while you're working. It's super silky and soft. I love it. This is probably like a top 2 or top 3 yarn base that I've ever worked with, and please don't make me name the other 2 or 3 because I couldn't tell you, but I know that this is top 3. It might be top 1, but that feels like a really big statement to make. I love this cotton and bamboo blend. Just saying. If you want to use the same yarn that I did, I'll put the link to LaRue's website in the caption below. This gorgeous dusty pink color that I used is called Princess of Heart. When it comes to indie dyed yarn, Kathleen is cream of the crop in making sure that her colors are consistent across skeins. I always recommend alternating skeins when working on a garment with indie dyed yarn so that you don't end up with any like accidental color blocking or any weirdness in your piece. But I did not alternate on this dress, and you cannot tell where one starts and one begins because that dyeing is so consistent across. If you've been following my design journey for a few years, you'll know that this is not the first time that I have used LaRue Cotton's yarn. I used it for my Piper pocket dress, my Spencer set, and the Kayla dress. So one every year. However, those 3 previous dresses were all done in the bamboo linen blend. And I like this base even more than that base, and I loved that base. This one, having the cotton instead of the linen, it's even softer, but it is more of a matte color, whereas the bamboo linen base is a little bit shinier looking. Now, I know I have followers from all around the world and with all different budgets for their yarn projects, so LaRue Cotton might not be accessible to you. So let's talk about yarn substitutions. I have an entire YouTube video on substituting yarn in crocheted garments. I recommend checking that out if you have absolutely no idea where to start. My big 3 recommendations always are: 1, that it fits your budget; 2, that you like the feel of the fiber against your body; and 3, that you can achieve proper blocked gauge with that yarn. Nothing else truly matters. My next biggest recommendation, because this is a warm weather piece and because it is kind of a more form-fitting piece, I would recommend sticking with a natural fiber because it's going to wick moisture more than an acrylic or synthetic fiber will. I don't want you to make an entire dress dress and then feel like you're wearing a plastic bag. Then the other thing, to try and match the weight of the yarn that I used, I mentioned at the beginning, 437 yards or 400 meters per 100 grams is kind of where you want to aim to be. A little bit more or a little bit less than that is totally fine, as long as you get that blocked gauge. The next thing you're going to need to make your Maddi dress is a 3/4 or 1 inch elastic that is roughly your waist measurement. You can find elastic like this in just about every fabric store and just about every craft store. Because we're using that thicker elastic, you're also going to need needle and thread just to seam the elastic together. I promise that's the only needle and thread seaming that's in this entire dress. The only other true seaming is seaming the pockets into the sides of the dress, and that's done with yarn and a darning needle. It's super fast. One thing to note about the elastic in this dress versus other dresses and skirts that I've made is that as you're working this, you kind of create a little pocket for the elastic to slide into. Previously, I have done like a fold over double brim around elastic in my designs, like the Spencer skirt, or I've done an afterthought elastic, like in my Maria dress, where you put the elastic inside the dress and then run yarn over the elastic. Let's talk about the construction of this dress. It is worked from the top down. These little triangles are worked in turned rows. And then we get to this little feature here. This is a faux wrap. So there are not 2 layers of fabric over the center of your body. Again, this is designed for hot weather. I did not want 2 layers of fabric over the sweatiest part of my torso. Essentially what I did is on this side, I decreased, and on this side, I increased, and I matched those increases and decreases the whole way down to the waistline. Then this beautiful crab stitch seaming ties it all together. And if you're like, but Courtney, I don't like skinny straps. I like a thicker strap. I've got you covered. Those are actually worked right into the pattern from the very beginning. The straps for the wider straps start at the back where it attaches to the body and work forward. And the only difference is that if you're working a wider strap, you just pick up slightly further down into this triangle piece to start. You'll see some examples of those wider straps in my testers photos at the end of this video. And if you want a little bit more coverage in the bust area of this dress, you could just shorten the straps a little bit and re-seam them at the back with the straps tucked in behind. You won't even notice them there. After working the elastic into the waistband of your skirt, you make the slits for the pockets, the rest of the skirt, which the length is completely customizable. The Maddi dress is named after my dear friend Maddi, and she loves to show a lot of leg in the summertime, and I don't blame her when you got those beautiful little leg tattoos like that. Here is Maddi. You can see her skirt is quite a bit shorter than mine. And you'll see in the tester photos at the end that several did their dresses a fair bit longer. It's entirely up to you. Just keep in mind that if you make it shorter, you'll need less yarn than I recommend. And if you go longer, maybe to the knee or below the knee, you're going to need substantially more yarn. Those rows from the pocket down have a lot of stitches in them, and they do use a fair bit of yarn. The more you do, the more yarn you're going to use. Now, I want to cut to an issue that came up in testing, and that is gapping in the underarms. Let's talk about what to do if you're experiencing stretching or gapping in your Maddi dress at the top. Putting the whole weight of a dress on tiny little straps and tiny little crochet stitches is going to cause a little bit of stretching, no matter how perfect you get your gauge. Additionally, these triangle pieces that make up the top portion of the dress are worked flat. And no one's body is perfectly flat like a board. We have a little bit of 3-dimension to us, which can cause a little bit of gapping here in the underarms. The first thing you're going to try doing if this happens to you is just to shorten the straps a little bit. See how much closer that got to my body just by pulling the straps up? Obviously, we can't walk around like this though, But I worked it into the pattern where the straps are the last thing that you seam. So these straps are attached at the body, at the back, right here. You'll shorten the straps to where you get the fit that you like and re-seam them in the back. If you re-seam them very carefully, you might even be able to trim off the excess strap. If that terrifies you, and it terrifies me, you can just tuck the excess strap inside the dress when you seam it. No one's going to see it. One of my lovely testers was dealing with a lot of gapping in the underarm area of her dress. She said this is a common thing with dresses for her. Everybody's body is slightly different. This is my solution for that underarm gapping. You're going to take a hook that is 0.5 to 1 millimeter smaller than you used to get gauge for the dress. You're going to attach it in the underarm and slip stitch just beneath the crab stitching all the way around the armholes. Nice and tight slip stitches are going to cinch that in and cause that fabric to pull in the underarm. And here are her before and after photos. You can see before there's a whole lot of gapping at the side, and after it's running right along her body. Then the other option similar to that is to run an elastic cording, either a 0.5 millimeter or 1 millimeter elastic cording, which can be found in the beading aisle of just about every craft store. And using a darning needle or a large sewing needle, you'll just run the elastic cording through that same area, through kind of the crab stitches or just underneath the crab stitches, all the way around the armholes. Both the slip stitches and the elastic could be put around the neckline as well too, if you really want to double down on that elasticity in the top. So this is my before, because I'm going to try the slip stitching. This is my before. I'm getting a fair bit of flapping here because I've worn this dress a number of times now, and it was not like this the first time I put it on. So we're going to do the slip stitching around and see how that looks when it's done. And here is the after. I did the slip stitch method all the way around just the armholes, not the neckline. And you can see it's nice and secure. It's covering my bra on both sides. Definitely works. I highly recommend this if you're experiencing some stretching in the underarms. Without further ado, here are my testers' photos. And that's it. That's the Maddi dress. I hope that you all love her. Leave me some comments down below, like this video, and subscribe for future crochet content.